Okay, the XRP price has been doing something pretty crazy, and I think this is where a lot of people get trapped. So, to give you guys a little bit of the long story short, XRP hit $3 earlier today before falling all the way back to $2.66, right now being back up how much? Let's quickly check this out. Right now being up about 6%, 5-6% or so, again from that bottom. And when I take a look at the comment section of my previous video, there's a lot of negativity. So let me tell you one thing. We right now are not in a state of euphoria. We right now are not in a state of delusion. Most people are quite critical. Most people look at this pump and think, this will probably stop right here. This can probably not continue much further. This is probably where it ends. And you want to know the fun thing about bull markets, the fun thing about an altcoin season? If most people are this rational, and most of the people in the comment section are saying, you see it went to $3, but it's dumping again, you stupid goofball, that basically means that we are so not freaking done, all right? And this is one thing where I think a lot of people will get trapped. They'll get trapped in the idea that whenever you have a massive pump, it cannot be continued on for too much longer. Again, one example is this right here. $3 was about 6 hours ago, and now can't hold $2.80 as per usual. Dump. And by the way, I'm trying to filter through all these freaking crap ass things, but it's hard, man. I do not know how to get rid of all these bots. Damn. Dropping 20 cents in a day is not good either. Well, I disagree. Is the blast off in the room with us? You get it. Just generally speaking, there weren't really many comments that were also excited like I was, that were saying like, oh yeah, finally, oh, we're going so much higher. When you start to take a look at the Google Trends, for example, or really, you just look at any chat in almost any one of the communities, yes, there is some excitement. Some I saw it during the live stream. But generally speaking, in peak euphoria, it's the rule, right? I mean, look at this. Our XLM bot is up 160%. I still can't imagine this. I still can't comprehend almost just how good this has been doing. Right? Just look at the freaking numbers on this. We put 10K in just two months ago, and it's up $16,000 all of a sudden. Because again, remember, this was basically down money all this time. We've also been able to reinvest into the 10K $2 million challenge. And still, through some strange way, nobody's talking in my comment section about XLM. Right? Nobody's talking about the fact that this coin has all of a sudden skyrocketed. Nobody is thinking, it seems, by the way, whenever I say nobody, I do understand there are a lot of people who do exactly get what's going on. When I say nobody, it's just because I expected it to be so much more. XLM is up freaking 30%. When we're taking a look at the top gainers, we have XLM being up 64% this week, 27% today. Yet when I look through, there's just nobody talking about it. Or when I say, oh, we're seeing a blast off, people are like, where is it? What are we talking about? And I keep reverting to the fact that right now we are seeing a move for XRP that could literally push us to multiples of the current price. Just, it could go so crazy so quickly, and all it takes is one snap. Just like how we all of a sudden saw a candle. This is a weekly candle from XRP. Let me quickly turn on my keyboard here. I'll use the MacBook keyboard real quick. We all of a sudden saw a 30% weekly candle. Just as funny, we've seen a 64% weekly candle on XLM. Right? Did many people expect that? No. Is it really as if everybody right now is talking about it? No. It's like a nothing burger. And that's the fun fact about real altcoin seasons. I've told you this before. The biggest mistake people will make is not thinking we're in an altcoin season until we've way gone past it. So, or we're very much into it. So again, let me describe altcoin season to you. Because again, I've been here making videos for 9 years almost in a row. Every single day. And I've been in multiple altcoin seasons. Let me tell you something. One, right now, I would consider this to be a good starting point for an altcoin season. But that's also because over the past 2 years or so, I've been saying, I think the highest point of this season will be between August of 2025 and January of 2026. Still stand by that. And from that logic, following almost any one of the models, right, the 4-year cycle, whatever, it's supposed to peak or start peaking, I should say, a little bit earlier than that. Because otherwise, to get to the peak takes maybe a month, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 2 months. It depends on how crazy things go. But generally speaking, at some point you're going to have to start gaining. The fact that Bitcoin was able to get to almost 120,000 right now, and alts actually followed, it was not just Bitcoin making a move, because again, looking at the market cap, we saw many coins go up in the double digits. This is signaling, to me at least, that we are onto something pretty freaking cool, right? But it's up 30% now. If we're taking XLM, it's 30% up in a day. If tomorrow, again, it's up 30% in a day, and the day afterwards is up 30% in a day, you know how much money has now been added to XLM, how many places in the ranking it's gone up, and just how crazy it actually is for just, for example, a few days. But then, just because it might still be small, or many other coins aren't following those gains, or because their old altcoins have not beaten all-time high, they don't think it's an altcoin season. But really, the most beautiful part of an altcoin season, it could be either of two ways. Way number one is by you just being able to catch on pretty quickly that the narrative is shifting from mostly being bearish on altcoins to mostly being bullish. And I'd say that right now that moment has been hit. And the second is, well, this is again my personal thoughts, being able to buy into something that's pumping a lot because it'll most likely pump further. That is, again, you buying into the momentum rather than you being able to predict the next trend. They kind of converge into one idea though, which is in the crypto market, if you believe in it, which I personally do, you generally speaking have one overarching principle, which is whatever does well will probably keep doing better, at least for most of the top coins, for the foreseeable future. We do not expect any of these assets, right, that we're buying into. Some of these assets I don't even know, so I don't care for them. But generally speaking, for the ones we're buying, we do not expect any of them to reach zero anytime soon. Many of these coins, I personally think, are in a spot where they still deserve to be bought because they've not gone on a crazy rally yet. But again, from a risk-reward perspective, it does make sense to scoop them up, especially when you consider nobody's really talking about crypto just quite yet. There's no, if I ask on the street right now, hey, what price is Bitcoin at? Most people, probably 9 out of 10 will be like, oh, Bitcoin, yeah. Whereas again, if you ask this in peak 2021, everybody will say, oh yeah, this Bitcoin's, oh yeah, I just bought some, all my friends have been talking about it. Right now, nobody is. And that's because, really, once Bitcoin breaks the all-time high, once altcoins start going a bit again, there's usually one or two alts that need to pop off so much that people start talking about it within their, I don't know why the camera gets stuck like that sometimes, within their friend circles. And all of a sudden that cascades over into more and more people hopping on in. Crazy euphoria coming because those people that come on in then, they don't know anything. They just think, oh, whatever goes up must go up forever, which essentially is one of the best ways to place money. I personally think, not financial advice, it's just my thoughts. But on a shorter term, this usually works out. Over the longer term, it kind of doesn't, which is why I often revert back to saying, hey, selling is one of the most beautiful things you can do in the crypto market, but okay, I just messed up the recording there for a second, but it's all good. But, and this is a very, very key point, right? I could have had this whole position here and sold it for $2,000, right? This $850,000 XRP trade. I didn't because it's pennies on the dollar. If I expect the market to go for a crazy surge, why settle for less? And I'm telling you right now, this is one of the most conflicting thoughts that a lot of people will be having over the past few months or weeks, really, which is, should I sell now at quite a low price, in this case you're not even an all-time high, or should I be waiting for an even crazier pump? And the thing is, you can sell into a pump like this because you expect on Monday we're going to come and fill the gap and all of a sudden we see another crash, or you can think about it from a slightly longer term perspective, which is, if it's not an all-time high, it's all a dip, right? You can sell for profits here and there, sure, but what are you going to put it into? It, from my perspective, has got to go back into some other money-generating opportunity, which ultimately might mean you sell it right now at $2.80, right? You're looking for a good entry, but it might not come because maybe we just keep pumping, and all of a sudden you have to try buy back in at $3.70 because the price just went so insane in a 2-day period. A good example of that is my Ethereum trade. Not this one, actually, it's the bot. This bot, let me quickly find it. I said before, I want to put $50,000 into ETH, right? It's a $250,000 bot is what I wanted to open. But the price was up 20% when I opened this bot. I didn't want to be too much of a FOMO guy, so I only opened it with $1,500 with my plan to just buy the full 50K if it went down like 5%, maybe 10%, something like that. But it never did. I bought into a 20% daily candle when it went from 1800 or something like that to 2100. That day I bought, and I showed you guys, if you buy the top, it usually just still works out over time, right? And the fun fact is, ever since I bought into this, it never got into a loss. So I never was able to really get back into a juicy position. I was able to buy here when it was only up 20%, but still that does not feel too good unless you have a specific strategy based on profit. Like, for example, my 10K to $1 million challenge. But for the most part, it's just nice to buy these things when they're down significantly, which is how you get them to perform better than, in this case here, I opened it at 366, right now it's 342, yet we're up 25%. But again, let me just base one more thing, or my theory on one more thing. If you really look at almost any altcoin versus Bitcoin, they've not peaked. They're not close to peaking, even though, again, you might see a short-term correction. Relatively, we're still closer to a bottom than we are to a top from an overarching perspective. Again, where is XRP relative to Bitcoin, for example? Very cheap to buy. Well, under about 1940 Satoshi right now. From current prices, that is about 20% down, which might be a lot to some. But then again, from our previous tops, for example, from the 2021 top, just for fun, let's quickly zoom out and see. From one of those tops, we currently, for example, this one, we'll take this one. We're still 66% worth of gains away just to get back to a relative spot for XRP. But fun fact, this is when the loss was ongoing. If we take the 2017, 2018 levels, right, is where XRP hit an all-time high in 2018, we could still make 900% worth of gains from these current prices. Yeah, slightly more than that even, because I'm taking it slightly too high, to just get back to the same spot. We could do this for XLM, just for fun, right? If we look at XLM right now, we see that the downtrend seems to be broken or get broken. I mean, it's not as crazy as we saw back in November, December, but then again, fun fact, also, it kind of went in a similar fashion where you had one crazy week and then another crazy 2 weeks followed. And a lot of people think, no, but this is just going to turn back around, especially the moment that it fell from about 270 Satoshi back to about 218. They thought, oh, you see, this is all crappy. Let's see. Maybe even throughout the week, it was even more that it moved. Probably it did. Let's quickly go and check this out. So if you take a look at XLM throughout that week, here we go. Right, you had a couple of crazy candles up. Here all of a sudden you had a pretty crazy candle down where we were down 25% in 12 hours. People say, oh, this is so bad, blah, 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 blah. What if though, looking back at it, what if you had sold that peak right there? You would be happy on the short term because you caught yourself a really, really good sell. Sure. Because the price fell 25% after. Sure. But let's say you sold right there. You were planning to buy back at about 150, whatever, right? From that point, it still made about 150% worth of gains in the next week. I think, again, you might have really hated yourself seeing your coins be more than double and they almost triple as much just a week later because you decided to sell on a whim right there for a little bit of profit, right? Again, I'm not saying the same will happen again. I'm just saying there's so much that goes into every single decision. You selling right now has a lot of consequences. You not selling, a lot of consequences. You buying, a lot of consequences. You not buying, a lot of consequences. Every single one of the decisions you make right now can be rationalized. The most important thing to understand is that it's just money. It is abundant, especially in a market like this. If you missed out on an opportunity, you'll get another one, most likely, because it's an entire season for it. If you sold too quickly, do not worry. In my opinion, you'll find another trade to make even more on. If you did not sell this time around, do not worry. You've learned from your mistake. You will realize you should sell harder next time to not feel that same feeling. For me, what I know, I don't really care too much about these little profits. I go big or go home. So again, when we're talking about this trade, if it's not a few $100,000, at least, I'm not satisfied. Because otherwise, again, what's the point in keeping a juiced up position open for, in this case, 200% profit? No. We want to take it. I want to say something really sus right there, but I want to say we want to take it all the way. I just mean, we got to push this one further because, again, it's one of these legendary moments, in my opinion, where you put a good amount of faith into something. I personally still think I should have upped the game a little bit by getting an even juicier trade, but still regardless, the fact that XRP was able to go from $3 to $2.66 right now back to $2.80 just proved my point of really, if you just consistently buy, as long as the asset does not go to zero, it's not that hard to make a ton of money on. Again, on the short term, you may be wrong, just slightly. But we saw this trade being at minus 80,000, minus 100,000. Everybody saw it. I kept shouting, just look back on the channel in a few months, you'll see. And, well, some people listened, some people didn't. A lot of people laughed at me when they said, do you be minus whatever soon? A lot of people said that. And now, again, I'm saying to you here on this channel right now, same thing for my bots, same thing for this. You'll see this be up millions of dollars a few months from now, most likely. right? If all the plans go correctly, it'll be up even more than that, probably, but I won't even say the numbers that I'm thinking it's going to be. But let's just say you'll see it being up $1 million not too long from now. Same thing for this trade. I don't think it's going to take too long, but hey, it's no guarantee. It's no certainty. This is what I think. And to all the people that are against it, show me your shorts. And all the people that are for, just let me know what you're doing or what your plans are. Again, if you're selling right there at these spots, $2.80 in XRP, congratulations. Because it was $1.90 like 2 weeks ago or something. So you're getting yourself a really, really good spot to sell at. And I find that fine. But I personally think it is not worth to sell into such a crazy pump. And like Chris here said, he has some nice words again. He said, it's just money. If you're making money right now and you get all excited, you are destined to lose. Relax. Take advantage of the situation level-headed. And one part of that meant he actually sold a good chunk of his positions. Why? Because at the end of the day, don't get too excited thinking, oh, it's going to go on forever, because it will not. That's one thing, right? But on the opposite side also, do not get frightened by the money. Realize that the whole idea is for it to flow. Maybe you want to sell right now to open a new position. Maybe you want to do this to do that. Don't get too caught up in thinking that any single thing you make has so many drawdowns or so many negative thoughts connected to it. Remember what I said earlier. Every single choice you make right now will probably end with a little bit of regret, because again, you might sell too early, you might not, every single one of them, except for if you're exactly correct, but almost never will you be that. You will almost never be exactly correct. So by that idea, just work with whatever you think will leave you with the minimum amount of regret and go from there. Start building on top of it, because any thing you do right now can be rationalized. You going all in here can be rationalized because we are seeing peak euphoria base, meaning that this could be a level where all of a sudden things start going crazy. There's just so many signs for it. You selling a lot right now would be so logical because we're up tremendously, right? You now just buying a good chunk with the option for leaving more room when things go down is very, very logical. You adding mostly already is pretty logical. You selling mostly is pretty logical. I can think of good reasons for every single one of them, which is why my video here, to some might feel useless, to others this might be the key they need to hear, in the sense that you might be asking us, what are you doing? And I'm telling you, if I had $0 in, if I had a little bit of my money in, I'd go harder. But some other person will look at this and think, no, Dusty, this is where you get out. Difference in mindset. Both are solid strategies. They're just slightly different. Both of them equally as likely to work out. Why? Well, because nobody knows exactly whether or not we're going to go up on the short term or down on the short term. All we know is whatever happens, we try to make best use of that situation. So if we go down, what do we do? If we go up, what do we do? And again, in my personal opinion, now that we've gone up, we expect the market to move up further, so we buy. But if you'd already bought a good chunk just last week, why buy right now when you already had your bags filled? This is, again, potentially more of a moment to sell. From my own personal perspective, it makes sense to always continue to buy, just every week, every day, but that's also because maybe your income allows for it, and maybe your spot holdings also allow for you to be a bit crazier on your trades. On the opposite side, maybe you, from a mental perspective, understand that you always feel most regret when you don't have enough coins, which is me. But some others will feel more regret if they didn't sell when their trade was at peak, which is not me. I don't care about my peak for the trade. All I care about is having enough and seeing that P&L be freaking green. That's me personally. I just like to look at that. I just get most of my excitement out of that. Not really selling. I don't really care about having the extra funds. That might sound really, really stupid, but I just don't care about it. If I get another $100,000 in my account, cool. We've added a little bit more. I can now, instead of having 470,000 in there, I have 600,000 in there. Cool. But ultimately, all I'll do is just look for another opportunity to open a trade. So then by that logic, I might as well just add to the trade right now, made a little bit longer, and be in even more profit, so that's my thoughts. Anyway, I don't want to make this video too long. A few mistakes from there, but I'm going to keep it in. I like to keep them natural. If you agree, let me know down below. If you disagree, let me know down below. And if you're looking for a platform to trade, link down below to 𝗏𝗏𝗀. Right now we got a cool competition going on, or links down below to my bots over on Pionex. Check them out. And that's about it for this little crypto update.